sitting, huh? No calls?
We get a little bit of calls here and there, but it's not moving like it should be. And they're not overpriced per se. I mean, obviously, they're a little overpriced. The market is saying they're a little overpriced, but I've never seen anything like it.
I think, do you think it has to do anything with the NAR settlement and just brokers not knowing how to approach? Because it's can't you get fined if you reach out to a seller's broker with like a commission or the wrong way?
You're supposed to call and ask how much they're offering, and then you're supposed to have an agreement in place with your buyer.
Okay.
And let's say your buyer commission between you and your client is 3% for being the agent, and they're offering 2%. If you get that deal in their contract, technically the buyer is liable to pay that difference in commission, that 1% difference.
What happens if the listing agent pays that to the buyer?
That 1%? I mean, they can split their commission however they want, but they're going to be held liable for the difference, right? Like you're saying what scenario are you saying? If the commission between the listing agent is...
They're getting 3% and they're offering the buyer's agent 1.5%.
And they have a 3% with their buyer.
So they're splitting it 1.5 each.
You can do that, but whatever that buyer broker agreement says, like you're my client right now and you sign a buyer broker agreement with me for 3%, you're liable to pay me 3%. Whether the seller's offering 1, 2, 2.5, whatever, you have to come up with that difference. Now I can, be a nice guy and say, hey, you're good, don't worry about it, but that agreement is solid. You would have to pay the difference, which is a problem a lot of people are having because if you want to make 3% and they're only offering you 2%, you're not going to either show those properties or your client's going to say, no, I don't even want to go see it.
So buyers are better off just going straight to the listing agent, basically.
The industry is going to kill me for saying that, but yeah.
But there has to be a workaround where the buyer's agent could add value and figure out how to,
Yeah. I mean, the off market is still moving, man. I don't know about you guys, but
That's why I like off
the
market.
off market is moving, man. Cash. I see if a property's priced right, it's gone in 30 minutes. I don't know about you, but I'm on these lists and I see sold, escrow in, sold if the property is priced right.
Yeah. That it used to be like that in residential.
I'm acquiring more on market right now.
On market?
And it's like either listing agents don't understand how to negotiate a property in distress, right? Or the sellers just have too much expectations. But it's really hard right now to get a deal at the right price on MLS.
Yeah.
So you're not getting...
I saw that you put something like that online about our listing agents qualified to handle distressed homes. I didn't have time to look at it, but...
You know why I did that? Because the more properties I'm negotiating on, and I'm listening to what the listing agents are
advising the clients.
Advising me at the moment, right? Because I'm the client at that moment because I'm the cash buyer.
You're the buyer.
And I'm approaching them like, hey, you could represent me. But as they are talking to me about all the benefits of the property, I'm like, hey, you've left out a ton of money in your calculations of what I'm really spending on this property. I don't think you understand what us as investors financially are like into these deals for. You're telling me it's a great deal, it's gonna sell fast, guaranteed is this number, you're buying at this number, you put 50 grand and you're done. And is that I don't think you understand. I don't think you're qualified for this conversation right now. They just don't get it, I think there has to be more education for agents on distressed properties, on what it really takes. You have 2 closings taking place. You have commissions to pay out. When
you have holding costs.
You have holding costs. Like holding costs right now on that deal I was negotiating, let's say a property was $900,000, right? Divided by 12 months. That's
like
900
a month in interest.
Divided by 12 months times 10.5% interest.
Like 10 grand a month.
That's $8,000 pretty much. Times 9 months that you have a property like that. There's $71,000 there unaccounted for in what the listing agent, the dream they're trying to sell you in. And it's a dangerous game because a newbie investor takes that advice from that agent and they're screwed. They're underwater.
I think they're thinking more like
that's
cash,
their profit,
right? They're not thinking like cash on hard money when they leave that out, which is what you have to explain to them, like who's really putting on $900,000 of their own money.
No, you have those people, but the majority, I would say somewhere in between the lines of 80 to 90% of cash offers are really backed up by hard money.
By hard money.
Yeah,
Unless it's a buyer buying a property, 1, 2, 3 properties a year. But I'm talking about like real buyers that are buying 2, 3 properties a month, every 2 months or so, whatever it may be.
Money.
That's a hard money game, and I just don't think these listing agents get it. Like, I don't think they're really accounting for, which it bites them in the ass, because that expectations that they set for their seller are now not being met. So the seller's holding on to a specific number.
A dream.
The seller, the listing agent is not meeting their expectations. They're now struggling because based off the way that the market's speaking, they're communicating it back to the seller, and the seller's just not taking it.
Not taking
it. And it's a frustrating deal for them. And here we are as buyers trying to talk to them, and I'm feeling like the energy that's involved in the deal, And I'm trying to negotiate one not right now. I'm locked in at 940. I really need it to be at 900. And they're like, no, that's what all the offers are coming in, and I can't go at that number. Like, what do you mean? Like, the market's speaking to you.
Yeah, they're telling you
There's
that
a reason for that. What did you present to your seller? Because you may have been the problem. You may have been the problem as the listing agent, not understanding how to really value this deal and the expectations to set for your investor, So it's a little, I don't know. I think that I'm trying to put more education out there to the listing agents of what it really takes to calculate what a property, because as they're talking to me, what they're telling me, they're, oh, but look at the comps. There's another property that sold for this number, and one that sold for this number, and one that sold for this number. But they're like, an investor's not looking at that. We're not valuing as is to as is. We're valuing
ARV.
What we're buying towards after repair value, towards all of our costs and expenses in the deal, and then seeing what profit there is. We don't care what the other as is comps are selling for, but the person doing the listing presentation to the seller, that's what they're selling.
That's what the seller
False
right?
expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you see it, John? I mean, with the guy that you have, what, 20 listings?
Right now I have 14 or 15 active with another 4 coming soon.
Okay.
And 2 I just had to take off. So I had to take 1 off because the mother has to evict her daughter, which that's a whole another scenario. And then the other
Who's
one.
doing the eviction?
The mother is evicting the daughter.
Oh, wow.
But are they already in process?
I'm supposed to get back to them later tonight with that
we could
process.
do that eviction.
That'll be even better. If I could just throw you an alley-oop and you handle that for me, that would be even better. The daughter has been hijacking all the showings, putting tarps on the roof with sandbags when there's nothing wrong with the roof, not letting people go. And I've had a couple direct buyers go in there, and with like how hard the market is, I'm like, bro, I can't even send anyone else. So there's a lot of complications with the market, but I think Ernie hit it on the head when he said that we're not setting the right expectations to our sellers. I feel like a lot of listing agents are going in there and saying what the sellers want to hear versus what they need to hear. And the distressed property is a little bit different, because if it's somewhat like a traditional home where they're going in for a first-time buyer, then you can look at comps, right? But looking at comps on a distressed property is really not no good. You need to look at the as-is value, what else is sold cash in that condition, and then get the ARV, because that's what people
and make sure that the renovations that comp A and B and C that you're using are equal to your subject property. Because if they're not, if those didn't need a new roof and you needed a new roof, you got to take that into consideration.
Right. So what kind of spread are you looking for? I'm sure you guys do percentages, right? So what makes a deal a good deal for you, knowing that you're going to make X percent at the end at the closing table after it's all said and done?
You want to answer that?
Well,
first?
so I have a buying perspective, right? So I look at it as I'm a big buy and holder, right? So I fix and rent, and those numbers for me are around 50%.
50%.
50%, or else I just assign or wholesale.
He's a shark. That's big numbers.
50%.
I'm buying more in between 60 to 65%.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
so
those are my numbers.
If you're gonna sell for $1 million, you need to get it at
500. For me.
500.
Or else if I don't
repairs, and then after
if I'm gonna hold on to it, I have a different strategy. If I'm gonna hold on to it, I'm now looking at as is value. How much am I buying it compared to the as is value of the property? Because in the distress world, it's not always based off what the property is valued at is based off of the necessity that a homeowner has. I'll give you an example. I purchased a property, 3 siblings inherited a home, their year ran up, there was a reverse mortgage on the property, and they didn't sell the property or refinance, and now there was going to be penalties added to their payments, and their payments were going up like an extra $1,500. They couldn't afford it, and they needed to sell the house within like 2 weeks before that payment came. And to them, this was like they were drowning with the idea of this payment coming, and they're like, hey, I just want somebody to that could close this before our next payment's due, because we're going to default and none of us want to start messing up our credit. So I made it happen at the right number, but I got that property probably $150,000 under what it was worth at the moment.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So at that moment, that's a good buy and hold strategy for me, because I'll just assign that property to my partner, or I'll partner with somebody, assign it to them at that value, get the private loan for them at that value, and then all the money is within the equity of that deal. You're buying that property with no money.
So you're safe.
No.
Probably walking out with money. You're probably getting paid to buy that house.
Nice.
And what if a realtor, what do you think a realtor would have done had they gone in that deal? And I have my realtor hat on. You know, how do you think these listing agents that you've been talking to would have analyzed
I could get you top dollar for your home.
And put it on the market?
I could sell your house quickly. I could get you the max value. All this, you have to, because if you're not trying as a listing agent, I don't know, I'm not a listing agent, but I'm a sales guy, and I'm just thinking, there's too many agents, there's too much competition, right? So that homeowner, chances are, you as the listing agent going to do a presentation, you're not the only person they've listened to, right? So what do you have to hold on to is value, right? Like, what is your value is that you can get that house sold quick, and you can get it sold for the right price, right?
Yeah.
Or am I wrong?
No, you're there. You're there. I'm saying in that scenario where they said we have 20 days, because going on the market would take 30 days to close, more or less. If we put it on the market, find someone that same day and got a traditional loan. I don't know if that property was in financeable condition.
Yes, this one was.
This one was.
But they needed a cash buyer.
Exactly. So that's all to bring it around. Like, realtors should be coming to these events that you're hosting here, educational wise, so that they can see deals from a different perspective, right?
A different lens.
From a different lens.
I mean, I'll tell you what, like to add on to what you're saying, an educated realtor in the investment space would have made a deal happen there on the spot, where instead of walking out with a listing agreement executed, they would have walked out with a purchase contract executed at the price that the seller needed, and then put that property up on MLS through a novation agreement, representing themselves, not representing that seller. And now giving themselves the chance to wholesale it to a cash buyer through MLS, assign it, and close it, which they would have bought. You could have put that property on MLS, cash only, closing in 15 days, and somebody would have bought it. And that listing agent would have made a lot more than 2, 3, 4, 5, 6% commission.
And I'm glad you touched on that, and that you operate an attorney title company, right? Isn't doing stuff like that a little bit frowned upon for realtors wise? Like, we either have the realtor cap on or we have the wholesaler cap on, because that's what I've heard through the grapevines. A lot of these wholesaler events, it's like you're either a realtor or you're a wholesaler. Like,
I'm a chameleon, bro.
Like, frowned upon.
Like, I don't know about that. Like every deal's different, and you gotta wear a different hat according to what the situation is in the deal. Because I'm meeting with somebody and I'm listening to the distress point. Can I list your property? Can I buy your property? Can I wholesale your property? What's gonna be the best exit strategy for you and for me to both win? Right? If there's no distress point, obviously and they're seeking top dollar, you got to go that route. But if there's a distress point, who cares? To switch your hat from a listing agent and help them solve their problem there on the spot. If they're getting the number that they need, they're walking out with a signed contract, you just made that client extremely happy versus them signing a listing agreement and now saying, like, okay, let's see what's going to happen. No, you already skipped the process to see what's going to happen and went in straight into a sale and have a contract ready to close. That's a better scenario for that listing agent and for that seller.
Yeah, imagine the seller was in a situation where they didn't want people, they didn't want to do 10 showings. They didn't want people in their house. You know, so it just really depends on the situation where like you were able, Ernie, maybe in that scenario, you were able to give them a cash offer. Hey, look, I'm going to take care. You don't have to worry about showings. I'm going to close at the date that you need and at the time that basically the seller needed, and basically close it like that, you know?
I just purchased a property like that.
Exactly. So it just depends on the needs of the seller, basically, you know?
So as long as you're working in the best interest of the homeowner, you should be fine. Should be fine. Because if that's what the homeowner needs and you're...
If the homeowner's in a distress point and they need to sell their property before a certain date, and you're telling them, I could buy your house right now, or I could bring you the cash buyer right now, still act like the listing agent. Hey, listen, as a matter of fact, I could bring you a cash buyer. I have a buyer. I have a pool of buyers, 3 or 4 guys. I could have them assess this property real quick, and in a couple of hours, I could have you some real solid cash offers, and we go from there. In fact, if one of these buyers moves forward with this deal, I won't even charge you commission because I do know that you're in a distress point. And then you make a deal with the buyer that's in a healthier situation versus putting that burden on the seller that's in a distress point. I think it's a winning position for the seller.
I love it. I love it.
All these guys right now that are after for sale by owners trying to pick up listings, those are the deals.
Yeah.
Those are the deals right there to bring in the cash buyer, do a novation agreement, and guess what? The property still ends up on MLS.
It does. I represent a few wholesalers who I novate, so I have about 4 of them on the MLS right now. It's one of my strategies. So I'm very familiar with the novations. I just know it's a fine line, and maybe.
What do you mean by that?
I've just heard that when you have, because we as realtors have a fiduciary duty to do what's best for the homeowner, right? And in the eyes of the realtor, right, wholesalers are, ripping them off, or they know that they could get more. They're buying their property under market value is what most realtors see it as. Not realtors like myself, because it's all about seller necessities, right? If they need to leave next month, then that's what they need to do. So you're providing a solution for that. But in terms of the majority of the realtors who don't know about wholesaling, they see wholesaling as frowned upon.
I'll give you a perfect example where, let's say you're dealing with a distressed property. The seller doesn't have enough funds to fix the property, but you come in and you do an novation. So you tell them, look, I'm able to give you maybe not 70%, but I'll do a novation agreement with you. I'm able to give you 90% of the price that you want. You basically take care of the renovations. They get 90%, and then you do a 10% split, and then you were still able to help the homeowner in distress.
That homeowner probably walked out with more money.
Exactly.
Because if you bring in the right right novation partner, like Luigi's saying, they're going to do whatever.
I call it equity protection.
They're going to do whatever renovations the property needs. Meanwhile, to get the house sellable at a higher value, sell, the investor get their money back and get their money, and the seller get their money. Perfect example. I purchased a property that was not financeable because of the roof. They sold that house probably like $250,000 less than what they could have gotten for if it had a roof. If it had a good roof, a financeable roof. In fact, my offer was in the very low 600s. The buyer before me that had to walk out of the deal because it wasn't financeable was buying in the 800s.
Wow.
So
it's juicy.
I could have partnered with that person and said, listen, I'll fix your roof. I'll partner with you on the deal, and then we'll get it. But it just didn't make sense for me. But if I had to go that route, I would have gone that route. If the seller didn't take my offer and I had to keep figuring out a way to get creative and get myself invested in that deal, that is an option I had. Hey, listen, I see you need to sell this house. Like I could get in this property with you. I could fix the roof. I'll put my money, no obligation on your end. I'll put my money. I'll paint the house. I'll fix the roof. We'll get this house financeable, and then we'll sell it. And then whatever arrangement we work out, so that we all get paid and win.
And how do you protect yourself when you're making those investments? Do you put a secondary lien position on the property, or?
My attorney prepares all the paperwork.
Okay, and it's by a lien position, or?
Yes. That's the way I do it.
Okay, and the house doesn't need to be paid off cash to put a secondary lien?
No.
It's kind of like a contractor's lien, in a sense.
Correct.
Okay. That's
We can prepare that all in-house.
Which is what we are teaching people today, if you guys are coming to the class. And And that's great that it's attorney operated. It makes everybody feel a lot better. I know I would feel a lot better because I know a lot of title companies are not attorney operated. And
well, the sellers feel comfortable, at least with me, because I'm like, hey, listen, every move I make, I'm backed up by an attorney. So if you work with me, you're now a client in the transaction that my attorney is overlooking. You have attorney representation for free throughout this process because I have it and it's being overlooked, and my attorney has a duty to protect you as well as me.
fiduciary duty.
Fiduciary duty.
There you go.
So they like that. But I personally think, to go back on what you were saying, if a realtor has an opinion on that, like if it's frowned upon or not, I think it's an uneducated agent.
Correct.
It's an agent that hasn't done enough research and shouldn't be giving their opinion unless they know what they're talking about.
So some of the numbers that I
Correct.
get sometimes are like crazy. It's like I think 90% of the deals that I get from agents sometimes they don't pencil out because you guys are not doing your numbers.
Yeah, they don't
I
know
don't
how
know if
to
it's just
work the
me, but
numbers. Yeah.
Well, they put me in a situation like I lock up the property either way at the highest number, at the lowest number I possibly could, because I am an on-market acquisition agent.
Yeah.
You're off-market. I'm on-market.
Mm-hmm.
And it puts them, like, I'm locking up the property. I'm putting it under contract. I'm putting it out there, seeing what offers come in. And through my inspection period, if the numbers don't make sense, now I'm in very thick conversations with these listing agents trying to work reductions, you know? And they're like, hey, no, I'm not gonna reduce the price. I have other offers. Of course, all of a sudden, every time I have a property and I put it out there, the listing agent has 10 people calling them wanting the property, right?
Yeah.
What do you think that is? That's everybody going behind our back. That's in our buyers list, going straight to the listing agent.
Oh,
So I find these guys because I also list properties,
yeah.
right, through novation agreements and things like this, and then I blast them in my list.
Yeah.
And all these people, you guys in my buyers list go around me, right? They're going around straight to the listing agent. You guys are talking to me and letting me know everything, and then I'm blacklisting you from the list.
Good.
Right?
We see you. We see you.
What we should
see
do
you.
is start putting their pictures up.
Yeah.
Like in the gas stations when they steal.
You'll be surprised, man, the people I've caught.
Yeah.
And I let them know if I see them on the event. I'm like, hey, man, you know that was me you were talking to, like somebody in my team you're talking to, right? I did that once in front of you. You just didn't realize. At the Wynwood event.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that to somebody. You didn't really realize what I was saying, but they did.
And when you send out those contracts to agents like myself who have the listings, you use a standard as-is contract, or you have your own contract that you prepare?
I'm going to use an as-is contract.
A regular one that's familiar.
That's what you want to see.
That's what we're familiar with.
Of course.
Yeah.
Correct.
Anything else would draw like a red flag
To you guys, right.
to us.
No, it's because the
Correct.
realtor has to use they have to use the Florida FAR bar.
Got it.
So I'm going to put in front of you what I know that you want to see.
And you're going to put may assign but not release a liability, or may assign and not be release of liability?
I don't really care because I'm going to sign it regardless of what's on that contract.
Okay. Yeah. Explain. Even if it says...
No, but you put assignable. You make sure your contract is signable.
Because there's
No,
two.
I don't really. No.
I mean, why double close
yes,
though?
I put it.
Why do a simultaneous closing though?
No, I'm not going to. I'm still going to assign it.
Okay.
Because when it's a day to close, you want to get paid as the listing agent. The seller wants to sell the property. An addendum, a one-page addendum needs to be added to the closing docs, changing it to assignable.
Oh, done.
And everybody's closing.
done. Yeah, done.
I don't care that you put that it's not assignable. I'm still going to assign it. You're not going to
I
walk
love
out.
it. I love it.
I'll call your bluff all day. You're not going to walk out.
I
Like,
love
not
it.
you really, because you're there to make the deal, but your seller's not going to walk
Right.
out of a closing.
Well, I think that's a great strategy because when I'm representing my seller and this just came up, I was like, look at the contract. He put may assign. I was like, that's what we don't want to see because he's just going to try to sell it and hold us up for
No,
another...
but what if
Not always, though.
What
Not
if I
always,
have
but-
Like for example, I'm going to assign it regardless because I'm putting offers under my buyer name. But when it's time to close on the property, I'm opening 123 Main Street LLC and closing under that, opening a bank accounts under that, and that property will be managed through its own LLC. So no matter what,
It has to be
whether
assigned.
I'm buying it or not, I'm going to assign it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's not always correct though.
Well, that's what at least I look for when it comes to my sellers. That's a great strategy because then if I see may not assign and may not be released of liability,
You know that they're gonna. Okay.
I know we're gonna close. I'm like, all right,
So,
perfect.
so,
this
so
is
if a
good to
buyer
go.
tells you this, because you should be asking the buyers, hey, how come you're assigning? And if they come and they tell you, well, because when I buy the property, I'm gonna be switching it to an LLC, so there's no liability on anything else that I have, blah, 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 whatever it is. Hey, listen, so there's a workaround that. What's the LLC name that you're gonna open? 123 Main Street LLC. Okay, great, so let's do something. Let's put your buyer name as 123 Main Street LLC Corporation to be created before closing. And that's your buyer name. You don't have to do this whole assignment thing.
It's interesting.
I still have a workaround that.
It's interesting.
Because I could say, fine, I could still do that, open the LLC. Now Luigi wants to buy the property from me. Add Luigi to the LLC, and at closing, remove myself from the LLC.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a workaround.
No.
That's
There's
good.
always going to be a workaround on how you could move the deal around, but
That's good. But I still get from wholesalers that say assign and may be released. Versus if they did
that is how I put
strategy-
my contract out. My contract says maybe a sign, but not like
not released from liability.
not released from liability.
Right.
That's what my contracts say. Now, if the agent wants to send, 3 of my properties right now are non-assignable. It doesn't really, you already know my strategy. So
Yeah, it doesn't
they're not
really-
going to walk out at closing.
Yeah.
A listing agent, a seller, they
Very
don't,
interesting.
at that point, nobody cares.
Yeah, I wouldn't care.
You got to closing.
Yeah, exactly. That's good.
You
That's
got to
good.
closing.
When they
so-
see money signs.
That's good.
Yeah, as a wholesaler or an investor, we just got to make it as easy as we can for the listing agent. The listing agent, you want to see it a certain way, done.
Done.
You know, because guess what? Because if you get that deal sold, you for sure are gonna get the deal sold because you sell everything. I don't know how you sell.
I try. I'm at like 87 transactions for the year.
We were just with him. He was at 60. We were just with him like
Yeah,
last
but he
month.
sold one on the phone. He did- so. Yeah, I lost track.
Agents putting the assignability.
I don't know.
Accepting.
You said you had 3 deals right now.
3 deals and 3 of them are not
Yeah,
assignable.
He said he's gonna
And-
close,
and
and,
they're-
then you were talking about him that he closed everything, like every deal.
I don't know. Let's just change the subject.
So, John, you're coming with us as a partner in REI Events. How do you feel about it?
I'm ecstatic. I'm happy you guys reached out to me. It's a testament to everything I've done in the online space and the events that I've put on, in the past, and it just shows me that, even though you might not see the ROI at the end of, a certain event right there in front of you, it's all, coming on the back end. And I know we've done one together in the past. I know me and you have reached out and have talked about doing things for years now, so I love that it's come full circle. I think I had reached out to Ernie when he was hiring a bunch of wholesalers in office. It didn't really work out because, he wanted the people 9 to 5. So it's great to see everything coming full circle and coming back. Excited to learn from Ernie, excited to learn from you, excited to bring what I, bring to the table and mix it up and change it up a little bit and get some realtors involved in what you guys are doing, because I feel like that's really a big part of the market that you guys aren't taking advantage of. They say a good listing agent knows the market, but a good buyer's agent knows the market, but a great buyer's agent knows the listing agent. And I feel like in your guys' field, it's the same exact thing, right? Because you shop on market. So how much easier would it be if you knew the listing agent on the the other side of that phone every time you wanted to get a deal? And that's what these events are about. I can't tell you how many times I've met other agents and all the realtors like, why do you want to go know more realtors? And why do you want to go to these realtor networking events? And it's because whether I'm meeting that specific person that has the deal or someone from their company, right? Like I'm calling that person I know at that company. Hey, Mo, I got this guy. Do you know this person that works at in your brokerage? No, I don't, but this person knows him. And then they throw us in a group chat together, and then that agent gives me the bottom number of where my buyers need to be at. And all because I've met other realtors in the market, all because I know a friend of that realtor, right?
And-
So
Also what I've noticed is all the more realtors that you see and meet, all you guys have secret pocket listings. I don't know what's up, but like the more realtors I know, hey, I have this, I haven't gotten around to putting it on the MLS. Can you find me a buyer? Happens every time. You guys have like secret like pocket listings here and there.
So It's funny you mentioned. I was talking to my partner about that the other day. We're actually starting some kind of like exclusive opportunity before it hits the market.
Okay.
All my properties, I list them on Monday.
Okay.
So whether I get the listing or pictures done on Tuesday, I list them on Monday. So
Beautiful.
there'll be at least a week there for
I love it.
people to get their hands on the property and kind of be like an exclusive opportunity off market. So it's funny you do mention that. And then some people just prefer not to be on market. Some people will just call us and say, hey, I'm willing to offer 3%, but I don't want to be on market because I don't want any of my neighbors knowing I'm selling. I don't want my friend who's a realtor, or my family member who's a realtor know I'm selling. Like, I just want this done quickly and quietly. So there are those scenarios as well.
Also,
too.
I've heard that there's like some bank restrictions when you've listed it prior to 6 months. Maybe they can't refi. Maybe the homeowner wants their options, but once they list it, it affects them if they try to refi a little bit later. I've noticed.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
That's news to me.
It does. Yeah.
No, that's interesting. You heard anything about that, Ernie? No? Yeah, me either. Something to look
No,
into.
so yeah, because it's like a liability almost. Like, you're trying to get money and then it didn't work out, so you're trying to sell it. So they do check
It's a
for
red
that.
flag.
They do, yeah, it does go through underwriting and it does give them a flag.
That's interesting.
I've noticed that.
So yeah, I mean, I'm super excited about that. I don't know if you guys have ever gotten any layups from any realtors that you knew, at least on market, when they were representing the deal, or maybe yourself.
Yeah, all day.
All
so
day,
if
right?
you guys have off market, DM off market right here. I'm your guy.
What about you on market?
I've gotten some layups here and there,
From knowing the realtor on the other side?
I love it.
Yeah, for sure. Especially like I've been in the game since 2012, and a long period of that time was just in the title space. So as a title company, my job is to know realtors in general. So that put me in a good position where like I look at a deal and I'm like, do I know the agent or not? And I'll say probably like 4 out of every 10 deals that I'm looking at, I know who the agent is. So it just helps to just pick up the phone, hey, what's up, attorney, this, that, and kind of try to work something out with somebody who knows who you have and you have credibility with.
Yeah.
That makes a difference.
I think that's like the secret that I tell a lot of people, that they're like, wow, that makes so much sense. So I've been with 8 brokerages in my...
Oh, really?
I've been with 8 brokerages. I've been a brokerage whore, so to speak. And none of them really change your business, because everyone thinks, oh, I'm going to go to this new place and it's going to be different. Like, no matter what brokerage you're at, you're the brand, you're the business. But I say that to say that throughout all those brokerages, I've made relationships.
Of course.
And once I tell these agents, like, hey, if you don't know someone, if you don't know that agent, look at their brokerage. Oh, it's, I don't want to say a brokerage here and put anyone on blast, but let's say mine. Oh, it's Lux Properties. Well, maybe my friend doesn't know, the agent from Lux Properties, but they know me. And I guarantee you, if anyone calls me to get in contact with an agent from Lux Properties about some kind of insight in the deal, like, I'm going to make that connection and make the insight and make the deal happen, right? It's either to look out for that friend or for when I need a favor in the future. I know I can call that person and now they owe me one, and so on and so forth. So just like, who knows this person? That's always the game I play. This is the listing agent. Who knows this person? I go on social media, see what they like, see who our mutual friends are. Because even if it's not the same company, you might know that person from whatever company, right?
They have a better
So
relationship.
you go on social media and look at the mutual friends, and you're like, oh, this person knows them? Perfect. I'm calling this person. So-and-so, connect me with this person. And I've gotten so many deals done like that. It's incredible. So any realtors out there, that's a little tip and trick. You don't have to know the agent. You just got to know someone who knows who knows.
I love this because right now with REI Events, we've been all about catering to what does REI stand for, right? Real estate investing. So we've been catering to the investors and to the wholesalers and the hard money space, but now bringing you into the picture where we're starting to open up our doors more to the traditional guys. And what I like about that is that we got the opportunity to show them what we do, because like you said, what we do is frowned upon, right? You kind of like, you guys are wholesaling. And today it's a lot more accepted than a few years back when this started, when I was in it, like from the beginning. It was kind of like, oh, what you're doing is illegal. I'm reporting you. It's not illegal, man. But now people understand it more, right? And through these events, we're gonna have the opportunity to show them all the work that's put into getting these kind of deals, and why we need to buy at certain numbers, and why it's okay to assign these contracts, and like we're making the deals happen. You know, a listing agent stuck with the deal. We're getting it under contract. We're assigning it. We're making it happen.
We're taking it to close.
Who cares what we made on it? The agent got it closed. That's what they wanted. They couldn't. They weren't closing it. Yeah. Most of the deals that we're getting have been pending with somebody else. Like I'm not so much after an active listing. I'm after pending listings for the most part. To be clear, right? Because like that's the person I want to talk to. Like if that contract falls through, I want to be talking to somebody that's already like in a struggling position. Like bro, yes, let's work something out. You know, like they're failing their seller. They're having to start from scratch all over again. I like building relationships with properties that are pending, and when we could get a property like this under contract, we could get it wholesaled, and everybody meets at the closing table. It's a beautiful thing. You know, they're not complaining then. But when they're seeing the property marketed, especially like on somebody like me that's acquiring on market,
yeah,
you got to be ready to start getting phone calls from the listing agent the moment that, you know, I send you the deals, hey, go. And I do that with several dispo guys, plus my list is like 10,000 contacts by now, plus like everything going on before you know, within minutes of having that property under contract, it's easily out to like 30,000 people. You know what I mean? By the time that everybody has done their part, social media, email campaigns, text messages, all this stuff, it's out there, bro. Chances are you're getting a call from a listing agent. What are you doing? You know? And you gotta be ready to deal with that. How I deal with that? I tell that listing agent, like, I tried to get the house from you at 300. I told you I could close 0 day. You wouldn't budge from 380. That's why I needed my 10 days inspection. I'm under contract. I'm seeing if I could find another partner to jump in the deal, or I could sell the deal to somebody else while I do my due diligence to see what what the construction is really going to cost me and all this. I have high risk, so I'm weighing out all my options. Oh, but but your contract is not assignable. You don't have the right to do that. No, I have the right to do that. I am allowed to market the property for sale once I have made my deposit and I have equitable interest in the deal and I'm under contract, whether 100%. It's assignable or not, because I don't need to assign the deal. I could assign an LLC that has nothing to do with that contract. I could close on it and simultaneously close to an end buyer. There's other strategies. So, but you hit that friction point with the listing agents at times, but then you get the deal sold, and now
they're happy,
you know, and now they're like no. When I do explain it, they're like, listen, just I get what you're doing, it's okay, do whatever you got to do. But that call puts me in a really good position to come in for a reduction later.
I like it.
You know, because it's like, listen, I'm only doing this because you couldn't get down to the numbers that we really need to be at.
I like it.
Now I've done all my due diligence. Now I'm ready to move forward. In fact, I have 7 days left in my inspection period. If you and I could make an agreement today, I'll go hard on the contract right now, cancel inspection, and close in 15 days. But typically, that's because I already have it sold.
Yeah. Right? You always go for the reduction. That's the man that I gotta thank you.
Come on, you made $40,000 on the deal.
Just this year alone in reductions, I made an extra $100,000 because I knew you and because you taught me always go for the reduction. Always. I had a contract that we're closing now. I had it for $500. And I went for a $30,000 reduction, and I went for a $40,000 reduction.
I should have made a deal. We should have signed something where I make 10%.
Imagine. Oh man, no,
at least
I think I took you to dinner.
$10,000.
I think I took you to dinner at Twin Peaks, and I paid for the Taz. So I think we covered it.
$40 dinner, $10,000.
Love it. Always go for a reduction, guys.
Always.
No matter what. Even if you're at the right price, still go for the reduction. Always, every time. And that's the great benefit of having it on the contract versus being the listing agent. You know, because when you're the listing agent, you know, it doesn't really.
It used to be where you want it to be, right? It used to be if I have 15 properties like I have now, in order to take 15 buyers all around town and manage all their schedules with mine and schedule the showings and inspections and all this other stuff, it would be impossible. It would be impossible to work 15 people. You used to want to have the listings because now you have 15 other realtors showing your one property, but now they're just sitting there. They're just sitting there, and it's a combination of interest rates. It's a combination of the economy. Everyone's scared with elections. It's like the perfect storm for listings to just sit there right now.
So how do you pivot in a market?
You either go back to your sellers to get incredible price reductions,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which are not as easy as when you have it under contract ready to sell. Because if I said we're at 750 right now, but if you're at 730, we close tomorrow. That's way more enticing than, hey, I need you to drop $20,000 and there's still no certainty of anything happening, right? So it's a lot easier on your side. Combined with the fact that we set expectations already at the listing appointment, like he was saying, these are the comps, this is what you can get, we're the people to get it for you, top dollar, yada, yada, yada. And then you kind of got to go back with your foot in your mouth like, hey, I know I said ABC, but, the market is speaking, right? And that's kind of what I've leaned to is the market is telling us something. The market is this, the market is that. We've had no showings. We've had, people telling us we're too high. And then you want to think that with that like 10% plus minus that I usually use, you would still have showings, right? And that was another question I was going to ask Ernie. If the property is still too high, you still inquire anyway. You still reach out, see if there's any wiggle room. But I feel like people are now just putting the number that their buyers are able to go to and not a dollar more. They're not saying like, okay, we're approved for 750. Let's show something that's 760. No, we're approved for 700. Let's show something that's 750 and see if we could get them down. It's like, no, that's like their hard stop in their list. Like, you're approved for 700, it's 700. We're not even, going out to talk to anyone and seeing if they got some wiggle room there to show the property. So it's hard. It's now, last night I was up for 2 hours with my partner trying to see like, okay, what are some other strategies that we can do? Do we throw dollars behind marketing? Do we do EDDM? Do we do mailers? Do we do, massive email blasts? Do we reach out to wholesalers like yourself for some help? Like, what do we do with these properties just sitting here? So we have about 8 million listed right now at 3% to our side. Do the math. It's $250,000 sitting in listings that we can't move.
I think that this is a good time right now to call the sellers bluffs in what their like bottom number is, right? Because it's a conversation like, hey, this is where we're at right now. It's end of year. As the closer we get to end of year,
December
the market slows down. To add on top of that, even though interest rates have come down a little bit, they're just too high. They're too high. Think about the mortgage costs for somebody buying this property. To add another layer, we have elections coming up in November. If we stay at this price range, I do not expect to sell this property until somewhere between February and March. Is that something you're okay with? And now you're really seeing, do they need to sell or do they want to sell?
Temperature check.
Right? My suggestion to get this house sold, right, is that we do a massive price reduction. We do a massive price reduction and we see if we could reverse this and maybe turn it into a little bit of like we go really, really low and see if we start getting people to pay above the asking price. We're listed right now at 650. I think we should be listed. I think we should be listed at least around 570, and kind of like throw them a crazy number like that and see where they're at. And like let's stir up the market, because if not, you need to prepare. Right? Anything could happen. It's real estate, but realistically speaking, you need to prepare to sit down, and wait until February, March, best case scenario, given the fact that you have these 3 layers that are against us right now. If it hasn't sold up now, it's going to get worse because everything that's going on with the economy, elections, rates. So we could either do a drastic price drop and see where it goes from there. I guarantee you offers are going to come in when we are at a competitive price for what this property is worth, and then we could reevaluate and we could see what those offers look like and we could have more conversations, or we could just keep sitting here and pretty much do nothing unless the phone rings.
Yeah.
I think that's where it's at right now.
I agree. I think everyone's looking for like something crazy when 90% of all real estate is price. 90%. When a good deal comes across your desk, it sells itself. It sells itself. The market speaks and they come and they offer you more because people buying know. They've been studying the market, right? Especially on the traditional side. Like these buyers are like, okay, they've seen everything on the market. They're waiting for something new to come. So when they get that auto email, something new, if you're not getting calls, showing requests, like what is that telling you? The buyers are out there, they're just not looking at yours. It's 90% is price. We can market and send it out to everyone we want, but if it was priced correctly.
If what the seller wants to do is close and what you want to do is close and everybody wants to get paid now, this is the best time to talk about a drastic price reduction, not $10,000. not $15,000 or $20,000 price reduction. That's not going to stimulate
Yeah.
the market with this property. Something where it's like, whoa, this is the deal, you know? And then it puts you in a position where you could possibly like, hey, listen, yeah, man, ever since we dropped this price, we're getting a ton of calls coming in. Like, our phone is ringing like crazy. You're lucky I picked up your call because I'm not getting to the calls in time. In fact, my phone's ringing right now on the other side and a text message is coming in. Like, this is ridiculous right now. But this is where we're at right now. Based off the offers that we're getting right now, how much are you approved for? Oh, I'm approved for 600. And you're listed, let's say, assume you're listed for like 530, 540. Look, man, right now, the best that I could do for you, you know, is, and then you just start talking numbers, but scaling up, not scaling down, and see what is the best thing that you could mix. And at least you have an opportunity to hustle the listing and present the best situations that you can to the seller versus like talking with your partner, trying to figure out like, what do we do?
Yeah.
You know,
At least we bring something.
and then this conversation, because you have almost 20 listings, so that's 20 conversations you're gonna have. You're gonna see who are the motivated people to sell and who's not, and then you're gonna put your time and energy into the ones that are truly motivated, that need to sell. There's a difference between need and want.
Correct.
The people that want to sell, I don't like talking to those people.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to win the lotto, you know, like.
Correct.
It doesn't mean I'm going to win the lotto. It's a more frustrating conversation versus somebody that knows what they need to do. They have a plan. They got to get it done. It's a more structured conversation to have with somebody that needs to do something versus somebody that wants to do something. So you're going to find those people based off having that type of conversation with them, and they're going to understand where you're coming from because everything that you're bringing to the table, it's real life things that they're seeing themselves. You know, like how you're going to afford the mortgage on this property and also afford groceries with how much they cost right now, you know, like, and gas, and it's not the market to be trying to get top dollar right now. It isn't, and I get it. Some people need to because maybe they have too much debt in the property or because they need to buy something and they got to go somewhere and they're going to be the one, they're going to go through the same things, you know? So like, I understand, but then there's the people that could bring down their numbers if they're just educated enough and they understand, hey, be prepared to like sit on this till February, March, maybe even April, because until the end of January, starting February, the market doesn't start to pick back up, and we could wait till then to see what starts to happen versus now when houses aren't selling, we did a drastic drop, get the phone ringing and see who we could bring up.
It's the uncertainty. And that's one of the reasons I like the investment space, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. The hard money, for the most part, the interest rates stay very competitive throughout the year, no matter what's going on with our rates.
No, hard money changes.
Okay, I've always seen it from 10 to 12.
But that's a big jump, and hard money. I'll tell you what. When I started using hard money a few years ago to buy my own properties, I started buying properties three years ago or so, right when we started REI Events.
Okay.
How long ago was that?
It was 2022.
Okay, so 2 years ago, I started buying properties, and the interest rates were in the 7s.
Oh yeah, I
hard
remember.
money.
I got a hard money for like 7.25.
That's when we were at like
That was
3%
nice.
on the
You
traditional.
guys were at
nice.
3, but hard money was in the 7s, and that was super cheap.
That was beautiful.
And from one day to the next, it was like at 11, and then it dropped down to like the 10s. Right now, you go true
I just
private.
did one right now for 9.5, which was pretty good.
Yeah.
9.5.
For you?
Yeah, and it just goes back to my numbers, right? So I bought that property for like 175. My hard money's 997, and I just rented it for 2,200. I love it. I love it.
And I feel like that's the good thing on the investor side. Whether, like, for example, 08, right? When the market was super high right before it dropped, investors were still buying. And then it crashes. But now guess what happens? Investors are still buying because now they're super cheap. So I feel like no matter what happens with the market, as long as you guys run your numbers and the numbers make sense, you guys are buying no matter what.
100%.
No matter what.
So it's like, I don't care what happens today, tomorrow, yesterday, as long as the numbers
Makes sense.
It makes sense. You guys are buying.
They're
So I'm
selling.
like, now interest rates are at 7, 8. Like nobody's really buying for the most part, the traditional side. Everyone's scared, everyone's waiting elections, everyone's, running around with a chicken with their head cut off, versus investment side is still steady, still flowing, still making deals, where we're kind of just like sitting on the side, like, waiting. What's going to happen? Is rates going down? Are they not? Am I a buyer's agent? Am I a listing agent? Do I go to rentals? There's a lot of uncertainty on the traditional side.
On my fix and flips, I offer the buyers $10,000 seller contribution at closing, and that gets me to find a buyer quick.
Oh, nice. I like that.
And that's
I like that.
aside from commissions, aside from everything.
I like that. I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna steal that one.
Do you usually go on market, or do you find a buyer
On market?
On market. Okay.
I'm gonna steal that.
We're not like the only agent to pay is the buyer's agent, because we own the brokerage.
Got you.
So we're paying the buyer's agent 2.5%, and then we're selling the property at top dollar or more, and they're gonna pay
No
more.
discounts here.
They're gonna pay more when you're giving an incentive.
Correct.
At that moment, because for somebody to pay an extra $10,000-$15,000, as the investor, I'm gonna get those $10,000-$15,000 in my pocket. But the home buyer is not gonna have much of a change in their mortgage payment.
Correct. Over the
for
30 years,
for a
they're financing.
$10,000
Correct.
difference in their loan. It's a couple of bucks.
But out of
So-
pocket right here, right now, 10 grand.
But to
big
me,
deal.
as the seller, I'm gonna get that money, so it makes a big difference to me. But it's a little difference to the buyer. So to the buyer, it makes more sense. Okay, I'm paying an extra $15,000, $20,000 for this property, but I'm getting $10,000 seller contribution at closing. That's $10,000 less I need to come out of pocket.
You're financing it over 30 years for, basically, in a nutshell.
Right.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to the buyer for the most part. Like I sell my
100%.
properties quick.
100%.
Look, I just broke records in a neighborhood. The highest sale for my comp.
You did that?
What?
You did that?
I break the record often, bro.
I love that.
His own record. He breaks a
love that.
record and breaks his own record.
I
Francisco, pop it up. So we show our audience, facts.
dude, I'm good at,
No, I like that.
at creating
I like that.
a new price
level.
point in certain neighborhoods. It doesn't always happen, obviously.
that.
I have like a listing in Palmetto Bay right now that's definitely not happening in, but that one I'm giving on a major discount. I've had this property for a year and a half
I
right
see
now.
that. I see that. I'm sweating for you.
But as the investor,
good.
Yeah,
that's the
right.
risk we take, and we win
course.
some and we lose some. Of
course.
And the end of the year, you win.
Yeah.
Like with deal per deal, some deals you don't win like that.
I'm more
But
conservative, brother.
He's breaking the record for Palmetto Bay for the lowest price on that one.
I like to,
not like that either.
I like to be
but-
more conservative, man. Like, yeah, I think you're the riskier investor, and I'm more like the conservative.
I feel like he only touches things that he knows is gonna.
Yeah, it has to be like a home. For me to buy, it has to be like all the boxes
grand
have to check.
slam.
Like my exit. Okay, if it doesn't rent, how much can I sell it for? How much can I rent it for? It has to meet all like the boxes for me to buy it. Or if not, I just assign it.
I don't even go look at all the houses I buy.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just about the numbers
Yeah.
and the pictures I see, and it's like, this makes sense.
And how do you know that the pictures you're seeing are accurate? Do you at least go before the purchase?
Yeah, in
Do you
Jacksonville,
send
right?
someone to go?
You're buying a lot in
How does that
Jacksonville,
work?
right? Jacksonville.
I'm not
Just
buying
taking-
a lot in Jacksonville.
Uh-huh.
I want to buy a lot in Jacksonville, but I'm buying in Jacksonville.
Okay.
And I'm like that's what opened my eyes to like, you know what? You don't have to go and physically look at and touch every property and manage the construction, and like there's a better way to scale this, But there is more risk. You wouldn't sleep at night
Yeah, I don't
with
think so.
the risk involved in this, but I kind of like it. I like the rush. But this property, so the highest comp was like 790
Okay.
in the neighborhood, and I sold the house for 850
Ooh.
Wow.
with a
love that.
with
That's
a
a
$12,000
huge
seller contribution to buyer at closing.
I love
So
that.
still beat it by 40,
I love
45
that.
grand. About
I
45
changed
grand.
changed the numbers there.
I love that.
All those homeowners owe you at least a coffee or something, because you just spiked
How do you
all their
convince
prices.
the appraiser
Well,
at that
I
point?
won because imagine like I sold the house much higher than what the comps are showing. and-
Is the homeowner coming out of pocket though?
No, they're not coming out of pocket.
And they're not coming
because
out of pocket.
The,
It appraised.
whatever lender that they worked with, like They have to do they have to do their homework and find the comps to help make.
But how do you find the comps to support that though? That's
go
the
into
thing.
other neighborhoods?
You go into another. Okay.
Maybe not another neighborhood. Obviously not. You can't just make up comps.
Yeah.
You know, but a lot of appraisers are valuing the property based off of like, okay, here's a deal. The sale is at this number.
Are they paying above
I gotta
appraisal?
go value this property,
No.
right? Like what comps can I find that justify this sale? You know.
Okay.
If that doesn't happen, right? If those comps don't exist, then like, so the last property I sold, 1 block away from West Miami. West Miami had better comps, right? But but West Miami falls into the radius that the appraiser needs in order to find the comparables they need.
Justify.
Are they paying above appraisal though? Above appraised value?
No, above appraised value.
Okay, they're not paying.
It's appraisal.
I remember 2 years ago,
No,
2 3
not
years
COVID
ago.
times. That was
COVID
crazy.
times 10,000 above.
I do
above
extra
appraised
work. I go
value.
out to the property. I meet with the appraiser. I explain the process that's going on. Hey, you know, like we're trying to get this property sold. It's sold at this. The comps that
Do you
I'm
show them
seeing.
comps? Do you show them comps?
I bring comps.
You bring comps
you
to
can
the
suggest
prison?
your own comps
Okay.
if they take it into account.
No, I've done that as well.
Yeah.
I bring comps.
Yeah.
I bring coffee and I bring a bag with $1,000. No, I'm just kidding. Don't put that. Don't put that on camera.
Oh, yeah?
It's a little.
I think we're good, right?
Yeah, I think we're
Yeah,
good.
1 hour. Just close it.
Yeah, close it. Bueno, guys.
So let's kind of like close it something.
It's cafecito time with Luigi and Ernie. And our new member of REI, John.
We're bringing a new twist into REI Events where we've added a partner that's in the traditional real estate space. He's learning more about investments. We're learning more about the traditional market. We're finding ways to bring the traditional agents and the investment side together and make these events more interesting for everybody. So if you're a real estate agent, I suggest that you start attending our events. You see what we're up to, learn what we're doing, and we could learn a lot from you as well. Especially when you have properties that are difficult to sell or whatnot, we are a really good source for you to sell your properties to, right? So attend our events, listen to our podcasts, come to our educational seminars, do blah, 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 whatever, just say something.
Network and close deals, guys. The more people you know, the easier it is to close your deals. And now,
What is the one that Corey says?
the more deals.
No, the more hands you shake, the more money you make.
Shout out to Corey. Yeah.
Say like a
something.
closing line. We're all listening. We're all watching.
So just like my guy Luigi and Ernie said, guys, it's about collaboration over competition. So come to these events. A good agent knows the market. A great agent knows the listing agents. And I myself work with wholesalers to put novations on the live market to get them sold. So at the very least, they're a great resource to get some more eyes and opinions on the deal. And at the end of the day, close on the deal, because that's what my seller wants, that's what I want, and that's what they want. So we can all make money at the same time. It's a no-brainer. We'll see you guys at the next one.
REI events.
I
guys.
want to do something to change it up a little bit to end it. Because our video guys never get enough credit, and they're the ones that are putting us out there. So get over here, Francisco. Get over here, Francisco. Sit right here in the middle.
You guys need to follow me on TikTok, by the
Oh,
way.
yeah. This
Yes.
guy's
So
gonna
this
be
guy-
famous one day.
Because you
I
know
call him
what?
Charlie Flo. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't.
Look at
But this is
video-
Charlie Flo.
This video is gonna hit 400,000 views.
400,000
This guy just
views,
started.
guys.
5 days though.
Oh, that's good.
If you want advice, or you want to talk about the stock market, this guy is all day.
Real estate.
One thing at a time.
Okay.
If you wanna talk, learn, or get into the stock market, this is a great guy to approach. My daily question to him is, do I buy now? Do I sell now? And I'm waiting. He's like, hold on, let me check the graphs.
I'm like,
hold
but
on,
Ernie, I don't know. I need to see. And he's like,
I
I
don't
just
want-
ask you a simple question. Do I buy or not? I'm like, bro,
It's yes or no.
it's, you know.
If you want to learn about real estate, this guy, like, he's taking off. He's become like a real estate guru on
Because
TikTok.
I'm learning from you, bro.
You're learning from all of us because it ties into these REI events, right? You're meeting a lot of people, plus whoever you're meeting outside of our network, but our network has opened the doors to you into like realizing like all the things that there are to go on. You're listening to our attorney, Carlos, when you're recording him. You're listening to me. You're listening to these podcasts. Plus, you're going to the events and you're hearing our speakers and all the other extra work that you're doing to seek education. But everything together, you've learned a lot, bro.
Plus, I was with Grant Cardone 5 years, so.
Yeah, this guy, he was Grant Cardone's video guy.
I want that
For
to
5 years. If Grant Cardone was in a jet flying somewhere to do a conference, this guy was in the jet with him flying to the conference. If Grant Cardone is on stage in front of 10,000 people, this guy's following him on stage in front of 10,000 people. And you quit that to like follow your dreams and do your own thing.
That's right. That's right.
And I
Thank you for the words, bro.
for sure.
I love that.
He quit that because you're the next Grant Cardone.
Oh,
Actually, bro, you know, you are with the big guys, and at some point you have a limit. Like, okay, there is no much more that I can do with them because he's already like a fucking huge. So I want to start working with people that are like getting started, and I can go big
watch
Grow
the
with
journey.
them.
next to them. You know,
Love
like
it.
this guy right here.
That's what this is for.
You know,
I love it.
appreciate it, bro.
Thank you
Shout out
guys.
to Bubbly.
Yeah.